Hello everyone, Tuesday, January the 24th. Today is actually the feast of St. Francis de Sales. All the saints are great. He's one of my favorites. Um, because he's for so many reasons. Number one, his incredible evangelization, desire or zeal. It was Francis de Sales who invented the Bible tract, not the Protestants. Not the Protestants, Francis de Sales. When he went to, as a priest, I think first into a certain part of Switzerland to convert the Chablis, and they wouldn't accept him, they wouldn't open their doors to him, so he wrote tracts, he slipped them under their door, and then of course he befriended the children. The children got to love him because he was a sincere, holy man, and eventually this brought about the conversion of 60 to 70,000 of the Chablis back to the Catholic Church. Bible tracts, Francis de Sales. It's actually compiled in a book called The Catholic Controversy. I think it's still available through TAN. So there's so many other reasons. He wrote Introduction to the Devout Life, which is one of the great Catholic classics. If you haven't read it, you got to read it. Okay, Hebrews 10, 1-10. Since the law is only a shadow of good things to come and not the true form of these realities, it can never be, never by the same sacrifices that are continually offered year after year, make perfect those who approach. And then I'm going to kind of skip down a bit. When he said above, you have neither desired nor taken pleasure in sacrifices and offerings and burnt offerings and sin offerings, these are offered according to the law. Then he added, see, I have come to do your will. And it is by God's will that we have been sanctified through the offering of the body of Jesus Christ once for all. So in a nutshell, basically, it comes down to this. See, God, I have come to do your will, O God. And this will tie in with the gospel of the day. So Jesus comes to offer himself. So what is pleasing about this? Well, the fact that he's the second person of the Blessed Trinity in a perfect human nature. Of course, that's the reason why it's a pleasing sacrifice, because he's infinitely holy. He is holiness itself, in fact, and his human nature is perfect. So it's a perfect sacrifice. He represents God and he represents the human race because he's fully man. But his will is offered to the Father, not my will, but thine be done. And that's the key. And that's a model for us to follow. What Jesus accomplished by his divine nature, you and I can accomplish by God's grace. So God makes this possible for us, even though there is pain and struggle and purification and uncomfortableness involved. But don't kid yourself. In a different kind of way, Jesus experienced a repugnance himself, probably to a degree that would have killed us because of its incredible weight. Imagine, the entire weight of sin pressing down on Jesus's sacred humanity. It's incomprehensible. And, God willing, we get to heaven, we'll be meditating on this for all eternity. But you and I can deal with our temptations if we truly give our will over to him. Doesn't mean we don't do anything, because that is an active participation. It's an active, it's not just a passive thing, but it's an active, Lord, I give you my will. I have come to do your will. I want to do your will. So do not underestimate the power that's involved in giving our will over to Christ. And then, of course, we use all the human means as well to align ourselves with his will. So over to Mark chapter 3, mother of Jesus and his brothers come to the house. They can't get in. Somebody says, your mother and brothers are outside. And Jesus says, he looks around at those who sit around him and said, here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother. So I've heard it said by, again, these so-called Bible Christians, Jesus' mother is just like any other mother. No, she's not. First of all, her son is not like any other son. And she was, the Magnificat makes it very clear that comes out of Mary's own mouth, and so does Elizabeth's prayer. Blessed is she who believed that what the Lord said would be fulfilled. Simeon's prophecy. It goes on and on and on. The fact that an archangel appeared to her. She's the mother of the chosen one. Anyways, what is so great about Mary is she never claims any status on her own. I am the handmaid of the Lord. She says, she's great because she is the primary disciple of Jesus. She is the one, for example, here are my mother and brothers. Whoever does the will of God is my mother and brother and sister. Well, who does the will of God more than Mary does? Mary is our example as a human person. You want to learn how to be a disciple of Jesus Christ, which I assume every Christian does, Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox. Mary is the example. She's the one who can teach us what it means to be a Christian, not 1 hour a week if we go to church or reading a little bit of the Bible, but 24/7, 365, all the time. In our social environment, when we're at the computer, watching TV, reading books, going for a walk, all the time. So let us keep this in mind and ask Mother Mary to really help us follow her Son. God bless you.